Hello, 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 and welcome to another event from Green Tech Southwest. It's really great to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us on this cold December day. But yeah, we can't complain too much because our speaker will be joining us from Norway, where it's currently -8 degrees. So yeah, we'll get it all out of the way beginning, and just not be pathetic Brits. But yes, thanks so much for joining everyone. As we all know, if you've been here before, I'll just be doing some general housekeeping, introduce you to the subject and all the little quirks about Crowdcast. So if you've heard this spiel a million times before, take a seat, sit back, relax. Not saying that if you haven't heard this before, you can't relax, but so my name's Ellen. I'm one of the hosts for Green Tech Southwest. My co-hosts will be introducing themselves a bit later. But yeah, it's great to, we always love having people introducing themselves in the comment section. So yeah, if you're already here, feel free to pop your name down, say hello, let us know where you're joining in from. It's just great to know where people are joining from and what brings them here. Also want to say a special warm welcome to students from University of Manchester. We've had quite a few of you register today, so I hope you're all here and welcome. And feel free to introduce yourselves in the comments as well. Let us know what you're studying. So we'll be getting started in about 7 minutes or so. We like to get it bang on, but just while we wait and make sure everyone's got their tech sorted. So what we have throughout the event is we'll have a few sort of things that are running. For example, we've got an ask the question section for the Q&A at the end. So if you've got any questions for the speaker, there's a little, either to the right or the left of your screen, depends on what browser you're using. There'll be like a little ask a question section. So if you have anything that's come up throughout the talk that you'd like to ask the speaker, do just remember to pop it in there because we will be reading that out and putting that to the speaker at the end. It also gives you the opportunity to upvote and make sure that any questions that you really want to get answered are at the top. So we'll make sure to get through those. And then what we love as well is we love having people share their resources and their information and anything that's related to the topic in the comment section. Because what we do at the end is we make sure that everything is live on our website for you to revisit and relive the event as much as possible. So if anything you think that might be of interest to the community, feel free to pop it there. It's a really great, it's a really good use of resources, basically. Hi, Joe. Thanks for introducing yourself. You're studying at Manchester MMU. Amazing. We had a lot of you joining us, so thanks for introducing yourself. And I hope you enjoy the event. And hello, Nat, as well. Software engineer, amazing. This has been a really popular topic. We're ending the year on a high. Green development is always an amazing topic. So really looking forward to hearing from Sara from Microsoft. So amazing. We'll be getting started about past. And what we'll do initially is sort of introduce ourselves, and then we'll have a 60-second intro. So this is an opportunity for you to have anything that you think the community won't want to hear, or a humble brag, or if you have something that you need help with, like a project, you have the opportunity to just jump on screen. You'll be invited on and have 60 seconds to basically introduce the subject. Not subject, so that makes it sound really formal. But you have the opportunity to just talk about what you're doing basically, and we'll make sure to share your details if you need people to get in touch with you after. So if there's something you like to do, just pop in the comment section that you'd like to do a 60-second intro, and then when it comes to it, Hannah or Mike will invite you up on screen. Amazing. Great to see so many of you from the university joining in, and thank you so much for introducing yourselves. It sounds like there's a lot of you here, so no pressure. You'll do a 30-second intro. Perfect. I'll jot your name down, and at about 1:45, we'll invite you up on screen. Just if before you do that, it helps if you're in Google Chrome. No worries if you're not, but it tends to agree a bit better with Crowdcast. So that's something to bear in mind if you're doing a 60-second intro. So okay, perfect. Just trying to make sure it goes as smoothly as possible. But we'll definitely. We've got your name down there. So, that's amazing. Great to have that. We'll be putting out a few polls throughout the event as well. Just something to, get your guys' thoughts thoughts on things and see what the knowledge is around the subject. So they'll appear at the bottom of your screen as well. Obviously absolutely no obligation to take part, but if you like a little quiz throughout, then that's option there as well. So I'll be sharing some events at the end of the talk as well that are happening over the next few weeks, which might be of interest to people in the community. But if you've got anything that you know of that's in mind or that's happening over the next few weeks that you think people might be interested in, they can be online or local to Bristol or your area really. Feel free to pop them in the comment section as well. As we just like to make sure that people know what's going on. We've also got a wonderful forest, an ecology forest, which is doing really well. But we'll be sharing that as well. It's absolutely no obligation, but we obviously want to make sure that we offset our events as much as possible and remain carbon neutral. So we do have a Green Tech Southwest ecology forest. We've had ecology speak a few times before, and they do an amazing work just around sustainability and help them, environmental and planting schemes for planting trees as well. So we'll be sharing that link for a bit further down as well. So absolutely no obligation, but we know in person, if you would enjoyed the meetup and would like to buy us a pint, then that's the online version of being able to do so. 3 minutes or so. It's great to see so many people here. And also what we have, so what we do at the end of every talk is our wonderful co-organizer, Hannah, has developed us an amazing website. So so we've actually managed to capture all of our events that we've done online. So if you ever have any interest in any of our previous events, take a look at our website. I think Hannah's just dropped the link in the chat there as well. So all our events, including speaker interviews, you can watch all the talks back as well on Crowdcast. They'll all be there. So any topics, sometimes we have overlapping topics. So if you want to review some of our previous events, you can do that there as well. And we'll make sure that this is online tonight tonight. I'll try and get it on for you guys. In case you missed it or in case you want to pick up some information. We'll be looking to get started soon. We're really looking forward to this talk, just to end the year on an absolute high. Like I said, it's a topic that gets a lot of interest and a lot of love. So really looking forward to hearing from Sara, all the way from Norway. Just if you've got anything that you'd like to contribute in the comments, please do. We do like a chatty feed. And just a reminder as well that, if you do want a question asked for anyone who's just joined in the last few minutes, you can, we have a Q&A session at the end of the talk for where we'll be putting questions to the speaker, and that can be done in the Ask a Question section down at the bottom as well. But wow, great to see. I can't believe how many of you are there from Manchester MMU. So that's really great to see. Thanks, everyone. Oh, hi, Hannah.
Hello. Mike has invited me on, so I think that's the
that's for me to.
Hello, Mike. We're going to start nice and promptly today. So I am going to pop some slides up on the screen and cool. Kick us off officially. So Ellen does a great job of breaking the ice and sort of allowing people a little bit of extra time to come in and introduce themselves and get a bit of a feel for the meetup. But we officially kick off the meetup now at this point with the three of us. So a huge welcome to everyone that's joined us for this event today. It's been hugely popular. And it's really, really nice to see a lot of new members joining us and also a lot of familiar faces popping up in the feed as well. So a massive welcome to you. You don't have to be from the Southwest to get a lot out of these events. And this is one of the main reasons that we run them online, because we know that loads of you can join us. We have to say a little bit of a thank you to our three sponsors, AdLib, Ecology and Noughts and Ones, who are very kind and help us run these sessions. So a big thank you to those. I don't know if Tom, Nick or Elliot are with us today. If you are, thank you so much. And for those of you that are interested in green tech and interested in keeping in touch with us between meetups, you can find us on social media. You can find us on Twitter at greentech_swest and on LinkedIn, using the hashtag GreenTechSW. And I think we have the fantastic Joe with us today, Joe Mawson. Joe is a bit of a ledge. Joe very kindly, hello Joe, in the comments there, you popped up. Joe very kindly does live tweets for us as well, which is a really nice way of following the content. And Joe has this absolutely amazing knack of really picking out some of the key interesting things and quotes from the speakers too. So you might enjoy having a look at our Twitter feed as we progress today. So thank you, Joe, as always, for being a ledge. And so there's three of us on the screen right now, myself, Ellen and Mike. We are your co-founders and main organisers of Green Tech Southwest. You're not really here to find out about us, so we're not going to say much more about ourselves right now, but feel free to find us on LinkedIn or drop us a line via the community if you want to say hi. Oops, I just did that. I just clicked on LinkedIn by accident. Okay, is that slide showing? No. Oh, I made a boo-boo. Okay, hang on. What I might need to do is reshare my slides there. Sorry, my bad. I clicked on Mike, your link, your name, and it opened up LinkedIn and screwed everything up. Right, there we go. All right, cool. I won't do that again. Okay. And now that's not showing in full screen. All right, screw it. Let's just carry on. You can see all my tabs open, but there's nothing terrible up there. So we've introduced ourselves, Mike, Ellen, and myself. Hello. We also have a growing list of volunteers as well. Joe is with us today, live tweeting. Asan has been helping us with design. Andrew and Tony have been helping us with our live events, and Sam has also been helping us with our live events. So a massive thank you to all of our volunteers as well. And just a little bit of background about what we aim to do. Has that slide changed? No, something's gone a bit funky here, hasn't it? Okay, let's try that share again. Okay. And just a little bit about what Green Tech Southwest aims to do. So very simply, we're a community, a volunteer-led community. So Mike, Ellen, and I do this of our own free time. And simply, our aim is to showcase a variety of people using tech to solve different sustainability problems using ingenious methods. So we're just all about showcasing cool stuff, interesting things that are going on, and opening people's eyes to the wealth of cool stuff out there. What's important to us is that we are here primarily to support a local community, the southwest of the UK, but of course our events are open to everyone. So I know loads of you are from Manchester today, and you are super, super welcome, and we're stoked that you've made the time to come and join us. And we often have people from outside of the UK too. So anyone else outside of the UK, you are also, of course, super welcome to be with us today. I think Mike has just dropped our code of conduct and constitution links in. There's nothing really much exciting there. The only thing we have on our code of conduct is just always be kind. Oh, Chab has popped up. Chab is in Belgium. So super great to have you with us today. So with our code of conduct, the only thing we ask is just be kind. It's very easy to have different opinions on sustainability, and obviously it's something that most of us are really, really, really super passionate about. And sometimes that passion can lead to tense conversations. So we just ask you to always be respectful of other people's opinions and mindful that people will come from different contexts and different places around sustainability. And that doesn't necessarily mean they're wrong, or that doesn't necessarily mean that we can't learn something from each other. So we do ask for you to always bear that in mind, especially if you interact with each other throughout the course of the chat. Okay, but mostly that goes totally without saying, and everyone's super lovely. So we've not had an issue yet. I think we mentioned this already. If you want to access our past speaker content, please hop along to greentechsouthwest.org. We've run, what was it? Is this our 35th event?
I think so, 34 or 35.
Yeah, so we've done a few events by now, and we've built up some really, really, really interesting resources. We record all the events, and where the speakers allow us to, we always put the slides on the website as well. So do have a look there. And so that's probably enough from us. This event is very much about the community, and it's about our speakers. And we always have this slot at the beginning of all of our events, and this slot is the community 60-second intro slot. And it's an opportunity for anyone out there in the audience to come on screen and say hello, maybe share a project or initiative that you're working on, maybe ask for some help or guidance, or perhaps just share a cool bit of knowledge or an interesting resource that you think others might get some benefit from. And so if you want to come and take part on a community 60-second intro, all you need to do is let us know in the comments, which I'm hoping I'm pointing the right way. No, actually that way, I think. Somewhere on this screen, you can drop us a note in the comments. Now, we've already had one person who was keen to come on the screen and say hello. We have Michael Bain. So Michael, we're going to invite you now. And we'd love for anyone else that wants to pop on screen to say hello, to let us know in the comments, and we will invite you on. And we've got quite a few attendees today, so bear with us. It might actually take us a little bit of a while to go through the list of people and find you. And I think that's what's happening with Mike. Cool, Michael, hello. You're on the screen.
To my 45 seconds. I'm Mike Bain. I'm a lecturer at Manchester Metropolitan University in software engineering generally. I'm kickstarting what we're calling the Greener Compute Club, and it's for students at MMU and wider to get involved in what can we do individually to reduce our carbon footprint, and to look at the carbon footprint of, say, IT services within the university and kind of work with them to reduce that footprint. And I do a load of research, for example, with UKRI, the Research Councils, on one of their net zero projects. I'm very interested in seeing if other people are interested in this, or the students interested in the Greener Compute Club. And the kind of research that I'm looking at is what kind of new technology can we use to do the simulations but use less energy? Is that FPGAs, quantum neuromorphic platforms? As we probably hear from Sarah later, how does the cloud, using the cloud rather than on premises, how does that help us reduce our footprint? How do we write greener software? So I saw someone else was talking about the Green Software Foundation. Someone I found out about recently, very good, hope to do more with them. And then machine learning, that I guess a lot of people know about. How can we use that to kind of help with choices when we're writing and running programs in order to reduce footprints, and wrap all that up in a super smart scheduler that'd be fantastic to have, that does all this for us, so that the end user doesn't have to worry too much about where their jobs run. They just run with the least possible energy within a reasonable time frame.
Michael, awesome. Thank you so much. Really nice to meet you. Thank you for bringing your Manchester clan to to our event today. And we're really stoked that you're all here, and we hope that we can share some really cool things with you. So, and what a great intro. Feel free to drop links into the chat if there's anything you want to share with the community, or if you want people to reach out to you directly. Brilliant. Thank you. So good to have you with us. Thanks, Michael. Okay, I noticed a couple of other, I think Dave said, hi, I'll wave at strangers, which I think means I'd like to come online and do an intro, and also Tim Stone as well. Great. So again, sorry, just bear with us, because I think, yeah, there's lots. I could see Mike kind of like going through the list with his eyes there, trying to find. We've got 112 people online right now, so there's a few of you to sift through. Fantastic. So Dave, this must be Dave.
Hi, 112
Welcome.
people is a lot of people to suddenly be talking to.
Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to make you shy. We're all very friendly, promise. Dave, over to you.
Hi, I'm Dave. I am working on a project called engi.ai, engi.ai. I'm going through a startup incubator right now, and I think there's scope to make an impact in people's energy use in buildings by using machine learning without needing to do a survey of the building. And as a result, that's what I'm trying to build and turn into something that's useful for people. And that's everything. If you wanted to know more, it's engi.ai, engi.ai. And yeah, it's nice to meet everyone.
Oh, wonderful. Dave, thank you so much. You only took 30 seconds there. So
I'm a programmer. I'm brief.
Yeah, you're succinct. Well done. Great work. Thank you so much for coming online. I also wonder whether you might have seen some of our previous talks on measurable energy. Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I think there might be a link there. And please, of course, Dave, feel free to drop your links in the chat. You know, you mentioned your website URL there, and any way that people can get in contact with you. That's what we're here for. We're all about networking and helping people find each other. So brilliant.
Doing a great job at it.
Oh,
Bye.
thanks, Dave. Really, really nice of you to come on screen. Such a treat. Brilliant. Okay, Tim, welcome.
Hello.
Tim. Hi.
Can you hear me okay? Yeah, good.
You can. Over to you, my friend. 60 seconds.
Sorry about the background noise. I homered my son. He's watching YouTube at the moment. So that's what that's about. I'm a developer at Lush. I am also developing an app called Leaf, which helps track your carbon usage while you're using your computer. So if it's okay, I'll drop a link to that in the thing, because it's not associated with Lush. It's just something in my own time that I'm trying to get a bit more awareness of. But yeah, that's it from me. Thank you.
Fantastic. We have some really brief intros today. I'm loving it. Tim, thank you so much, Tim Stone, for coming online and telling us about what you're working on. And I can see you've dropped a link there in the chat, which is awesome. Okay, do we have any other takers for 60 seconds? I'm enjoying the variety of work that we're hearing about today, which is really nice. So don't be shy. We're very friendly. Please don't be put off by the number of people that we have. Really, you're just talking to me, Mike, and Ellen. Just think about it that way. We're very friendly, and we gaff all the time and kind of mess things up. So, you know, you're in good company, basically. All right, fantastic. We have a taker from Dan. So, Dan, we will find you again. Bear with us. Mike's got a... can see Mike sucking his teeth there. Oh, God, okay. So we'll find you, Dan. We'll send you an invite shortly, and you'll join us on screen. And then unless we hear from anybody else in the next sort of 10 or 15 seconds, I think we'll draw our 60-second slots to a close. So last chance for anyone else after Dan to join us. All right. So Dan, welcome.
Hey. So yeah, I'm a software engineer as well, and a general hobbyist and maker. And I'm just interested in the subject in general. Most relevant thing, I suppose, is I'm working on a home automation system. And I've started tracking percentage of fossil fuels being used by the grid at any given time, with the idea of being able to use, you know, certain appliances or give alerts when might be a good time to turn on the washing machine or something like that. Try and save fossil fuels that way. So yeah, just generally interested in it. So I'd pop in and say hello.
Excellent. Well, it's so nice of you to do so. Thank you, Dan. And another very short and sweet intro, yeah, which is fantastic. We might also point you in the direction of Greener Hours, who we had a talk from some time ago, who were doing something very similar. Vanessa Champness is often viewing our talks today, but I haven't seen Vanessa in chat, so she may not be with us. But once we get the speakers going, I'll dig those links out for you and pop them in the chat, because it may be of interest to you.
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool. All right. Well, Dan, thank you so much for joining us. And there's our 60 seconds up. So wonderful. We had four really great intros, and really, really nice to hear what people are working on. I think we'll draw a line under 60-second intros right now and stick absolutely on time. So we'll just hand over now to Mike, who will bring the fantastic Sara onto screen, and we'll get into our talk content. So it's bye from me and Ellen for now. Mike's going to make...
Oh, I've cut her off a bit early there. Hi, Sara. How are you?
Hello, I'm great, thanks. How are you?
Good stuff. Yeah, very well. Thanks. Thanks ever so much for doing the talk for us. We've got a really nice big crowd for you. Just a quick reminder to everyone, if you have questions for Sara, if you can add them to the Ask a Question section down the bottom. Thanks, Hannah. We'll get everyone to upvote the most popular ones. We'll try and get through as many as we can without overrunning too much. So yeah, just pop them in there, and there will be polls throughout as well. So feel free to get involved. But yeah, it's going to be over to you, Sara. I won't take up too much of your time, but thanks so much again. We look forward to giving you the questions afterwards.
Thank you so much for having me, and great to see everyone on these 60 seconds and in the chat. I feel really excited now to speak with all of you, because it's a lot of people, which is always great fun. So hi, we will be talking about this today, building green software with the Software Carbon Intensity Specification, which is quite the long title, but I promise we're gonna make it work. So firstly, who am I? My name is Sara Bergman. I'm an individual contributor at the Green Software Foundation, where I've been a member since we were founded in 2021. I was the chair of the Writers Project for a while, so you can find a lot of my writings there, other articles I've curated and stuff like that on the webpage, greensoftware.foundation. On what I call my day job, or my job, I guess, is I'm a senior software engineer at Microsoft, where I'm a backend engineer, and I work on Microsoft 365 products. So all about C# and .NET for me. I am a Swede living in Norway. That's a distinction that is very important if you're Scandinavian, tend to be very unimportant for everyone else in the world, but I like to make that distinction clear. So for me, why am I here? Why am I talking about green software? What's in it for me? And I was really glad to see so many people being from the university and academia world here, because that's where my journey started. I think as sort of a millennial or sillennial, not quite sure where I fall in that category, I've always been aware of climate change and always wanted to do something because it felt urgent. But my passion when choosing my career was not conservation or any of those things. It was tech and software engineering. So I pursued that path, and then I was really lucky to get to take a course in my fourth year that was called Green IT, and it was great because it forced us to read a lot of research and to say that, like, don't only take my word for it, but take all of these impressive people's word for it and all this research, that not only do we have a great opportunity for positively impacting the climate with tech, we also have a responsibility and a sizable footprint. And then that sort of grew from there. So what will we be talking about today? Well, firstly was the introduction. We're already done with that, so I said we're progressing great. Next, I wanted to talk a bit about the structure of the Green Software Foundation. I saw some people already familiar with it, so that's great. If you're not, don't worry, we'll walk through it. I also wanted to specifically highlight some of the projects that we're doing and things that everyone here and anyone can benefit from and learn something from. And of course, we're going to talk about the Software Carbon Intensity Specification, and then there will be questions and hopefully good answer. Oh, I can't promise good. There will be answers at least towards the end. So yeah, structure, Green Software Foundation. Why do we exist and how are we structured? This is our theory of change, as we call it. We are on a mission to build or to change how we build software so that there are zero harmful environmental effects of software. Because there are generally two broad ways of looking at software. You can use it as a tool to have a great impact on climate. You can solve all these complex problems and help make a contribution. And that's all great, and we should not stop doing that. But you can also see the flip side of that is that with the incredible growth that we've had in this area for, I would say, the recent years, but it's been more than a few recent years. And because of the way we run software, we do have a sizable impact on the environment, and we want to decrease that. And the vision that we have is to build a trusted ecosystem of people, standards, tooling, and best practices for creating and building green software. Because it's great if we can have someone who has an amazing standard or tool. There's been people who've been doing this for a long time and will continue to do that, and that's really great. But we also think that having this trusted ecosystem where we can say that this is not just one corporation, like for example Microsoft, to stand behind this, but actually these are industry competitors that are aligned, and we think this is the best for the industry as a whole. So trust is really important to us. It really impacts the way we work and our direction. So who do we serve? Well, we primarily serve what we call software practitioners. So Notice that I don't say software engineers, even though I'm a software engineer, because there's so many more people than just engineers who build software, of course. And those are the people we primarily target. Secondary, it's the leaders, policymakers, students, or anyone in a software adjacent role. And what we have, or what we need, is that we need changes in what we have identified as our 3 key areas. So tech, knowledge, and tools, so that we can make a priority, study, teach, and understand and act on software, and specifically the environmental effects of that. So why a foundation? Well, I've hinted about this a little, but let's dive a bit deeper. So firstly, it is to enable collaboration. We are under the Linux Foundation, and that comes with a great set of tools on how we can get clarity around things like patent rights, IP, copyrights, and shared works, and with very agreed and specific ways of coming to a decision. If you're not used to kind of board-like work, this can feel very formal. Our meetings can feel very strict sometimes in the ways we decide on things. But that is because we are industry competitors. So we really represent the full industry, and it's important that we have a way to collaborate that works for everyone. Again, we want to have this trusted ecosystem so that we can be trusted by other enterprises, by governments, and by the general public. Also, to increase the market size, we want to increase the demand for people like you and for services and products that do create or that support the creation and maintenance of green software. This is our structure as a nice box. So we are under the Linux Foundation. They have good experience in creating these type of foundations and running them and supporting them. So that's very great to have that support. We have a steering committee, which consists of members of all of our steering members. I said members twice, once referring to people, once referring to organizations. Sorry if that was confusing. But then in the middle between these, we have our 4 working groups. And as you can see from the titles, they have slightly different focus. They have slightly different projects that they run. And yeah, the outcome of them is slightly different. So we have this separation of work. Like I said, we do represent the global software industry. Our steering members are the ones you see on the left, and our general members are the one you see to the right. You can see both profit, non-profit, larger, smaller organizations here. And yeah, everyone can have a say in what we produce. The members that we have operated over 190 countries, so we really are global. The workforce that we represent is over 1.5 million people. I actually think that's a bit higher now because the top part of this slide is slightly older than the lower part, but still it's a lot of people. And several of our members are also Fortune Global 500 companies. So that is it about the Green Software Foundation and how it looks and why we're doing this. And it seems like some people were already familiar with it. Next, I wanted to talk about projects, because one of the things that we're really big on are projects and outcome, because we don't want to do this just for ourselves. Of course, we want to contribute and help people like you to create and maintain green software. So these are some of the projects that I wanted to highlight specifically. A lot of these had announcements of major changes or launch around COP27, so they're really hot off the press. Firstly, I wanted to talk about the Green Software Practitioner Certification. This is by the Community Working Group, and this is a training and certification for green software. And our goal is to get 1 million practitioners certified by the end of 2023. It is self-paced, around 2 hours, but you can do it at any pace you like. It is for free, and you will get a nice certification at the end. So if you're having some downtime during the holidays, I would recommend checking it out and deepening your knowledge of green software. Or if you already know everything, at least get a nice certification. Secondly, the Green Software Patterns Catalog. This is quite exciting, I think. So this is a catalog of best practices for building green software. All of these patterns, they span a variety of different context. Domains is the word I'm looking for. So even if you have quite narrow domain, maybe you're only into ML, maybe you're only into cloud or apps or mobile, there are different categories of patterns that you can go and check out. And all of these are verified by subject matter experts within the Green Software Foundation. So anyone can submit a pattern. So if you have an idea for a pattern, you're more than welcome to submit it. And I can see that Hannah is putting links to everything that I mentioned in the chat. So that's great. Thank you so much for doing that. And then by consensus, again, trust is so important to us. All of our decisions are based on consensus by all member organizations. So if you submit a pattern, it will be verified by subject matter experts, agreed, and then it will be published if it meets our criteria. And the goal of this pattern is to, if you as a practitioner, you apply one of these patterns to your software, it will reduce your emissions. This was also one of our big COP27 launches, and I hope you find something there that you find exciting. Next is the Carbon Aware SDK. So this was a toolkit that enables developer, or this is, I should say, a toolkit that enables developers to easily build applications that do more when the electricity is clean and less when the electricity is dirty. And this is one of the hottest topics in green software right now. I will talk a bit more about that later, but this was also the focus of the Carbon Hack 2022. And I saw at least one person who had been participating in that. So I'm really glad to hear that. Because the Carbon Hack was a bit earlier this year, and it was about building software that reduced the amount of carbon emissions generated through using this API. And you can go to this link here, and you can find the SDK and the API and all of that good stuff. Also, I was super impressed by so many of the prizes, or not the prizes, but the people who won the prizes and the projects that they had. And we have published all of those on our YouTube page. If you want some inspiration for what you can do and how you can build green software and use our SDK, I would definitely recommend going there and seeing some examples for yourself. Oh yeah, I also believe the link is to the Swagger page. So if you are big on Swagger, check that out. And these projects were written in a multitude of different languages for different domains. So really tons of good inspiration there. All right, so the last project I wanted to talk about, of course, is the Software Carbon Intensity Specification. For COP26, so last year, we released the alpha version, and now we've had a full year of gathering use cases, of gathering feedbacks, of iterating over everything. And now for COP27, we proudly released the version 1 of the Software Carbon Intensity Specification. And the goal here is to eliminate emissions. And we consider this to be an essential part of any work damage net zero strategy. Because if you're unfamiliar with that term, the key difference between net zero and carbon neutral is that for a net zero strategy, you need to eliminate as much emissions as you can. Some say 90%, some say as much as you can. That's a problem in and of itself that we don't have a great consensus of what that means, but that's a whole talk in itself. And then only offset the remaining bits. So this tool is all about eliminations, because eliminations and market-based reductions aren't the same things. Eliminations is when you never emitted it in the first place. So I wanted to spend some time talking about software carbon intensity and the specification. I'm just going to call it the SCI from now on, because software carbon intensity is a really long word, and English is my second language. But before we get into that, I wanted to talk a bit more about this. What makes software green? And for that, we have a term we call carbon efficiency. So as green software practitioners, we see carbon as our most expensive resource, is the thing we should be the most careful to spend and the first thing to try and save. And if you're carbon efficient, you want to emit the least amount of carbon possible. And there are 3 key ways you can do this. So the first is energy efficiency. So consume the least amount of electricity as possible. if you've not thought about carbon efficiency of software before, likely energy efficiency would be the first thing that will come to mind. And it makes sense, especially for those of us who are based in Europe this year and been living through this energy crisis. I think it's been top of mind for more people than it has maybe previous years. So if you want to be more carbon efficient, you should be more efficient with your energy use. It's not a one-to-one relationship. I will get a bit more into that later, but it is a very close relationship and a very good proxy. The second thing is hardware efficiency. So use the least amount of embodied carbon as possible. And that is because any device, specifically hardware devices such as phone, laptop, servers, they come with a sort of encapsulated carbon debt. So whenever you produce, let's take a server, for example, you first need to mine the materials. You then need to transport those materials. You need to produce the materials to whatever it is you're producing, a server in this case, and then you need to ship it. And all those things consume energy and then consume other resources that generate carbon emissions. For example, I'm not sure if people have seen how CPUs are made these days, but like I was mind blown the first time I saw that. That's a highly sophisticated process. I mean, they make sense because processors are tiny these days, but it's incredibly energy intensive. Just go check it out. I was mind blown. And all these things, of course, we have already paid. Once we set a brand new server in our server halls, we've already paid that carbon. That's already out in the atmosphere. So we want to make sure we are using this hardware as responsibly as we can. And this might seem less intuitive, especially if you are from a pure software background. Then you let the hardware people worry about the hardware and I just worry about the software. But actually, there's a lot of things you can do with software to make smarter and better use of your hardware. For example, if you are an app developer, you may want to make sure your software supports not only the latest Android or iPhone OS, but also older versions so that people don't have to throw out a perfectly working phone just for your application to work. Or if you're running in the cloud and you have virtual machines, it can be things like right-sizing your virtual machines so that your cloud provider can then stack the virtual machines on the physical hardware in a more efficient manner. Because if you're requesting a really big virtual machine, but you're only using a tiny sliver of it, or maybe none at all, then that still takes physical place on a physical server, which could be utilized more efficiently. And the last part is carbon awareness, which was the carbon aware SDK. So doing more when the electricity is clean and less when it's dirty. And again, I think if you're based in Europe, this is something that you've probably thought a lot more about the past year than maybe before. Because there are different ways of generating electricity, and some are renewable, some are low carbon, and some are not. So for me, I'm in Norway. We have like 99.6, I think, % hydro. That means if I charge my phone now, if I charge it 3 hours later or 12 hours later, it will still be hydro. It will be equally green. But for most grids of the world, that isn't the case. They actually fluctuate over time and of the day, but also over like a longer time period. And you can make use of this as a software engineer. You can utilize this variability to your advantage and postpone things that isn't urgent to when you have more green energy. And not only will you then have a lesser impact, but also you will support the energy providers of putting more green energy on the grid. So that was a bit about carbon efficiency. But in the end, this was about measurements, right? That was what the software carbon intensity was about. So let's talk about measurements. And the first is the total tell a whole story. And totals are great, right? They are one way to describe the state of something. And to make the right decisions, that may not be enough. So say you are the leader of an organization and you're tasked to reduce the emissions of your software. So you take a bunch of steps to first measure your total emissions in Q1. They're 34 tons. You invest in projects and you take all these actions, and then you measure again at the end of Q2, and your emissions have increased to 52 tons. That does not look too good. But you don't really know if you should continue your investments, or in the projects you did, if you should cancel them. You don't know if your portions went up or down. Should you be fired or should you be promoted? A total by itself doesn't tell the full story. We may need other complementary metrics to really understand what's going on. So say we looked at the carbon intensity as well. And now the story looks a bit different. So in Q1, we had 3.3 grams per user. And then after all the projects that we did, carbon emissions are now 2.9 grams per user. Now, this is good, right? We took some action and we decreased our emissions. So this say that this intensity tells us that our choices were correct and we should be best to continue in the same direction to gain even further reductions. So how do I calculate this rate? How do I get to this? Because this seems great, right? I want actions. I'm a software engineer. I want someone to tell me what to do. And that's where the SEI comes in. So the SEI score is a rate of carbon emissions. It's not a total. And the equation is, it's a bit of math, but I will get through it together. It's not super complicated. And all of these pieces actually relates to the things we talked about earlier. Funny how that worked out almost as if I planned it. So we're just going to go left to right in this equation. So the first is the energy consumed by your software. So you use less, your SEI becomes lower, you use more, your SEI becomes higher, etc. But as you can see, it doesn't stand on its own. It's multiplied by this I, this green letter. And that's the carbon emitted per kilowatt hour of energy. And that is the carbon intensity of the grid. And that's why energy isn't a one-to-one relationship with carbon, because when and where you consume your electricity actually matters. And in one of the 60-second intros, there was someone who talked about this, which is great. I also see people in the chat sharing different APIs where you can get the grid intensity of various grids. And it's actually interesting to look because it will fluctuate over time, both longer and short time periods. So those were the first two parts, the carbon awareness and the energy efficiency of your software. And then onto this, you add the M, the embodied carbon. So the amount of carbon that was emitted through the hardware that your software is running on. And yeah, this, if you go into the specification itself, it tells you more how to calculate M. I'm not going to go into those details right now, but basically it's an amortization over time based on your utilization of the resource. And yeah, the secret part, or not the secret, it's very not secret, but the magic part of it, the thing that makes it a rate is the per R, so per functional unit. And this functional unit, which was user in the last example, could be anything that describes how your software scales. So this could be per device, per session, per ML training round, per API call, whatever it is that makes sense to your scenario. And the whole point of this is to make it biased towards action. We really want to give you a way to be more informed so that you can take actions based on the things that you know. So you might want to calculate several different SEIs, want to look at things differently. You may be in an environment where you have perfect control, you can measure all of these things, or you have the option to calculate these things if you're in an environment where you're not able to directly measure. One thing I forgot to say is this I is, of course, the location-based marginal emission. So it's not, it is the exact, or as close to exact grid emissions that you can get. Yeah. So let's look at some of the core characteristics of this SEI before we jump into questions. So our core characteristics are things that as the specification develops, we want to have them remain true, because it will evolve over time, especially if you once again look at the full specification. It's quite a long text document. It's not very scary though, you don't have to worry, but it will change over time. That's the purpose of it, because as we learn more and we get more use cases, and as the area progresses, things will change, we'll learn more. But these core characteristics will remain true. So firstly is that the SEI is sensitive to carbon awareness, energy efficiency, and hardware efficiency. So the things we talked about in the beginning. Secondly, the SCI takes a system-wide impact. And this is really important because local level optimizations may lead to micro improvements, but they may actually have negative downstream or upstream impacts at a macro level, which then negates the impact you took on a local level, or even offsets them, even becomes greater. So it's important to be aware of your software boundary, your system that you're trying to measure this in. And thirdly, we want the SCI to be easy to implement. This is also really important. You don't have to take a certification or course or pay anyone any money to implement this. Of course, now you've heard about this for about half an hour or so, so you have a bit of an advantage. But in general, it should be easy to implement. But of course, whenever feasible or applicable, it can be worth investing money to get more granular data or more granular metrics to further help you take better actions based on your specific scenario and your specific domain. And speaking of granularity, the SCI encourages the use of granular data. So that's simply because if you have more granular data, you can be informed to take a more, not direct, but more precise set of decisions. It gives you more levers to work with, or levers. I'm not sure how to pronounce that in British English, sorry. But so yeah, when you can use granular data, but that might not always be available. And when you don't have granular temporal data available to you, what we say is that annual values is the lowest acceptable granularity. Of course, there is quite a big time span between that. Maybe you cannot get every 5 minutes, but maybe you can get every hour or every day or whatever makes sense to you. Lastly, I also wanted to say exclusions. This is about eliminating emissions. That's the only actions that will reduce your score. And as such, the SCI score cannot be reduced to carbon offsets such as market-based reduction. And this is also important because it sort of muddies the pictures. We want to focus on eliminations, and thus market-based reductions you may include in other data or other scores that you have, but not in your SCI. All right, lastly, I also wanted to draw everyone's attention to this survey. So it is a report called The State of Green Software, which we're launching next quarter. And it will be the first report to map out the new green software ecosystem, from key stakeholders to regulatory frameworks, from impact metrics to academic literature, open source tooling to actionable design patterns. It's quite broad and we're very excited about it and would love for you to get involved. So if you can spend or spare 5 minutes to take this survey and be part of this report, that will be really great, because we really want to change the industry, and this is one of the tools we're using. So thank you so much, everyone, for your time. I've seen the chat has been going. I hope there are some questions, because now we do have some time for questions.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Sara. Just coming back on screen here. Absolutely amazing. Loads of takeaways in there. Fantastic tool. And I love the idea of a green software practitioner certification, which hopefully some people attending today would be up for that as well. So yeah, round of applause in the comments for Sara. Maybe a Swedish flag if you can work it out. That's absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for that. And we do have some questions for you. So what I'll do is just minimize that. There we go. Cool. So yeah, first up, we're going to take a question from Nat Dark. So do you have any thoughts about serverless technologies such as Azure Functions or AWS Lambda in terms of reducing carbon emissions? My assumption is that they're a good choice because they use containers which are created on demand instead of always on virtual machines.
Correct. A very good question, and almost answered itself. Yes, I think serverless can be a great tool. Actually, on the Green Software article page, we do have a whole article where you can really dive into, we have some metrics and some experimentations there as well if you're really curious. But yes, serverless can be a great tool because you're essentially leaving the orchestration to someone else, and someone else who are doing this full time typically does it slightly better than someone who is only doing this for a part of your time. If you have the possibility to invest engineering effort in it, which most cloud providers do, then it will be more efficient. But it comes with a caveat. You should make sure to right size your tooling. So make sure you only use what you actually need. Don't request too much, etc., because then it becomes harder for other orchestrators. Of course, you can orchestrate really well on your own as well. No hate on the on-prem community. There are some really great system admins out there. But yeah, it's a good way to give the problem to someone who can spend a lot of time caring about it.
Brilliant. Thank you for that full answer. And thanks for the question, Nat. So yeah, next question is from Ivor. Is there any low-hanging fruit, i.e. examples of widespread bad practice, which could relatively easily be improved to be less carbon intense?
Yeah, a good question. And also do definitely check out the patterns for more of that. I think one of the key things, I tend to talk about machine learning or with AI and machine learning people a lot. And turning off experimentation that you don't use anymore, turn off workloads that isn't doing stuff, especially on cloud, not only a cost save, but also an energy save. So just have a way or like a process for, like not a process like a computational process, but an actual like work process for how you look at that. What resources are you using? Is it valuable? So that's one thing. Secondly is looking at your SLIs. So your service level agreements, especially if you are a production service, you might be spending a lot of resources getting to that like perfect P99 SLA, where in reality, your partners or your consumers or whatever you have, they might not need it. They might be fine with 98 or 95 or 80. And that way you can save a lot of resources. So that's another thing which I can encourage you to look at. Bill Johnson, also from the Green Software Foundation, have some talks on this. He's a site reliability engineer, so go check that out if it's site reliability and something that interests you. What else is good? Yeah, I think in general, the pull versus pull, like how frequently do you need data and for what use? Are you consistently grabbing data, hauling big chunks of data over the network, over long distances of network? For what? For who? How much does it actually improve your user experience? So really start asking those critical questions, and it will be domain specific. Because every domain is slightly different. But yeah, those are maybe my top 3.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that. And thanks for the question, Ivor. So next question is from Ed Holland, who says, do you think that SCI could be extended to include the externalities of both running and developing software? It'd be interesting to understand how much time is spent developing typical software versus how much time is spending running on a CPU.
Yeah, that's such a great question. Yes, I want to say the SDI can be used, should be used under any stage of your software life cycle. So when you're in the design phase, when you are in the new phase or like development phase, or when you're in active and retiring phase. But can you also measure the impact of your actual development? I say, yeah, why not? It depends on your software boundary. We have people who come and ask this, and same with like when you're sending software updates to your clients. It depends on your use case, but it can, if you think it's a significant part of your software, it can definitely include it in your boundary. And in the SCI, you can also find supporting documentations for how you report, and your software boundary would be something that you report on. But yeah, I think this is so fascinating, especially when we think about continuous integration. And I have people saying like, yeah, we deploy builds 35 times a day, and like that's great for developer agility, but that's also a lot of bytes to send and write to a lot of machines. And like, what's the purpose? Like really critically thinking about those things, I think can be interesting.
Brilliant. Great stuff. Thank you, Ed, for that one. So next question is from Alex Potter, who says, are companies like Microsoft investing in built-in offerings for things like hosting in multiple regions and load balancing based on energy cleanness?
Good question. And especially for Microsoft, I can't really answer for other cloud companies. They will have to stand on their own. But for Microsoft, we have a strict data residency rules, especially if you think about the Brad's announcement around the EU data boundary and those. Well, I'm from a non-EU country. You also live in a non-EU country, so maybe not super applicable to these people. But data, that's very important to us, and that will always take priority to not break any regulatory requirements, of course. That being said, Microsoft is heavily investing in making sure we provide as green as we can to our customers. We know that customers are interested in this. We know that people do care more than ever before. So yeah, I think I'm not sure if this will come as a tool that you and Azure can toggle yourself. I'm not privy to that information, but I think that will be a logical next step, and I think that will be really cool if that were to happen.
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you for that one. And thanks for the question, Alex. So next question from Tim Stone. Where do you think the trade-off between reuse and new tech lies? For example, investing in new efficient CPUs, hardware versus using what you have?
Yeah, also, I mean, every question so far has been great. It's so exciting. So that's a hard trade-off, right? And I think if we go back 10 years in time, the new CPU would probably always win in efficiency because we still had Moore's law. We don't anymore. We don't get a double as good CPU, what was it, every second year. It's not true anymore. We have to rely on other things, especially if you look at, again, AI or machine learning. It's really the increased use of specialized hardware like ASICs or FPGAs or parallelizations or GPUs that has really been accelerated. It hasn't been new CPUs in a while. So my opinion is that it's typically, I think we throw out hardware too fast in our industry in general. Not everyone will agree with me on that statement. That's a controversial statement, but that's my opinion. I think something that we can be better at is maybe separating when we need to be efficient on a client device or when we need to be efficient in a hyperscale data center, because those might meet or might have slightly different requirements. I had a phone that was working fine for all senses and purposes, but I couldn't get the latest update of whatever application I needed. And then, yeah, I had to throw away a working device. Whereas my Xbox, on the other hand, I've had for years and years and years because we expect them to live longer. Yeah, it's not as good as the new PS5, but I can still play all the games that I like. So it's a tough question. I think it's really going to come down to specific scenarios, specific types of hardware. But I think it's great that we're asking ourselves that question because, again, 10 years back, we did less of that, I think, as an industry.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Thanks for the question, Tim. Apologies, I have deleted a question in there, which was, can you watch the talk back, which you will be able to do after a couple of minutes once the event's finished. So yeah, we'll also be posting that on the group later today as well, hopefully. So final question is from Hannah, who's asked, how can organizations become a member of the Green Software Foundation?
Great questions. Yes, so you can go to our webpage and there's like a join us button, and I think it's like a Google form you fill in and someone will get in contact with you. There is a cost associated to it, which is different based on if you're a profit or a non-profit organization, if you're already a Linux Foundation member or not. But then you can do it if your organization is already a member and you as a person want to be a contributing member. You can also check our website and see who is your organizational lead, and you can reach out to that person and they will know the next steps to guide you into the working groups that you want to be a part of.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. So we've got one more question is squeezed in. So thanks to Dan for that. Do you think increased cryptocurrency uptake is a good or bad thing for green technology?
So as someone who wrote her master thesis comparing blockchain to databases, I have strong opinions here. So I'm trying to be nice because there are areas where blockchain technology can be really beneficial, but I think mostly it's a problem or it's a solution looking for a problem. Again, that's a harsh statement. Everyone's going to agree with me there, but that's my opinion. I do think an append-only storage layer, which you need to solve a cryptographic puzzle to append to, has theoretical hard limitations for transactional concurrency, for speed, and for trust that I personally, am not a big fan of.
Great stuff. You've been as diplomatic as you can there, so thank you for that. Great stuff. That concludes our questions. So yeah, thank you very much for fielding those, and some really good full answers with the resources to go to. So yeah, really thank you very much. I'm sure that was appreciated. I'm going to jump out now and let Hannah sort of wrap up the event, but yeah, just a reminder that we will send out slides, resources, questions, everything later today on the group. So yeah, thank you.
Brilliant.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, Sara, you're just like such a font of knowledge. It's so good listening to you speak and to hear about all that stuff that you're working on. So I just echo what Mike said, like a massive thank you again. I know this isn't your day job to come and do talks like this here for us, and you have kindly offered to do that for us, and you were absolutely brilliant. And thank you again. We can't say thank you enough for sharing that with us today. Great. Oh, I think Sara's gone. Sorry, Mike maybe was a little trigger happy on the goodbye button there. So my job is to book. It's all right, Mike. Mike's apologising in the comments there. Sorry, Sara. We didn't mean to to cut things so brutally there. So my job is to bookend the event. We are, as we mentioned already, we are a community all about green tech. And so there's a couple of bits and bobs I always do at the end, just to kind of just give you a bit of a clue or an idea of some other things that are going on within the green tech space. So Ellen mentioned at the beginning, we do have an ecology forest. Ecology are one of our sponsors. We've also been making small donations each month to their schemes to help mitigate our carbon emission impact. They do plant trees, but they also fund some other really cool carbon mitigation and reduction schemes as well. Many of those are what you would see in Project Drawdown. So they really are a mint offsetting kind of organisation. If you enjoyed today's session and you want to say thank you, we know that people would often offer to buy us a drink when we do our hybrid events. People will be like, oh, can I get you, a half pint or something to say thank you. If you fancy doing that for today's event, you can plant us a clump of trees. I think you can do that for about the same cost of a pint, 3 or 4 quid, roughly something like that. Yes, cheap pint, probably not going to cost you 3 or 4 quid for a pint these days. But maybe we should say a cup of coffee. You're very welcome to, if you want to, but you don't have to. We do these events because we love them, and because we really believe in this community. In terms of sort of other events of interest, we wanted to share with you 2 really awesome networks that you might be interested in. ClimateAction.tech. I think quite a few of you are from ClimateAction.tech. Sara is certainly a member. I'm a very active member in that community. I don't know whether all of you that have joined us from Manchester University will know about ClimateAction.tech, but it's a global community of over 7,000 people working in tech who all want to take action on climate change. So it's very vibrant, very active. There's lots of really, really interesting stuff going on there, and lots of really cool events as well, which are all online that you can take part in. So do check out CAT. For those of you that are based in the Southwest and perhaps based in Bristol, do have a look at the Future Leap network. They're based actually on Gloucester Road and also have offices in Clifton. They have a lot of events as well, and they describe themselves as one of the largest green business networks in the UK. So their purview is a little bit wider about sustainability than just tech. We also we would like to link a couple of other events of interest. Now, actually, a bit slim pickings at the moment. I think everybody's getting ready for the Christmas break. And we didn't see an awful lot mentioned for January just yet. I know that will change in the new year, but we did pick out these few particular things. If you're interested in building awareness around the environmental issues linked to digital technology, we'd highly recommend the Digital Collage Workshop. You can do them online. It's bubbled up from France, but you can do the workshops in English and in other languages too. The next one, which is online, is Thursday, the 8th of December. We will make this slide pack available to all of you too, so you can click on all of these links within here. So digital collage workshop, really worth having a look at if you want to get a really good holistic idea of digital technology sustainability. And I think this might appeal to some of you as well. There is a bit of a mega online conference happening on the 9th, which I believe is Friday. It's like a 12-hour kind of, what would you call it? Celebration festival, I suppose, of tackling climate change with machine learning. From what I understand, it's free to attend, and it's focusing on the theme of climate change informed metrics for AI. So super, super interesting, and I hope some of you might get a chance to check out that if you don't know about it already. And the Carbon Hack 22, so this was what Sara was talking about with the Green Software Hackathon that happened recently. I've just popped the link in there as well, because the event has passed, but the amount of cool resources and ideas and inspiration that bubbled up out of that hackathon is really, really worth taking a look at. And I think a lot of you here might really get a buzz from seeing what happened. So our next event is going to be hybrid. So that means you can join either in Bristol or join us online through Crowdcast like you've done today. That's going to be in the evening, Thursday the 26th of January from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. And I've seen Ed and Melin in the chat today. I hope they're still with us. So hello, Ed and Melin. We're really, really looking forward to your talk about water resource management and how you use AI and apps in order to manage that. And we've got Dan Travers, who is from Open Climate Fix. Hello, Melon, you popped up in the comments. Good to see you. And we've also got Dan Travers, who is co-founder of Open Climate Fix, and he is using also some cool tools, ML and AI, to do solar forecasting. So very much related to what Sara was talking about with regards to the more we can predict what's coming online with regards to renewables, the more we can shift our compute loads around. So Dan is going to be really interesting, and no doubt Melon and Ed are going to be really interesting talking about their water resources reimagination as well. So that's going to be a really great one, don't miss. And then to summarize, just a massive thank you to you all for coming. We love to have your feedback. If there's anything you think we could do to make today better or anything you want help with, there are various ways you can get in touch with us. You can email us greentechsw@gmail.com or find us on Twitter or LinkedIn as well. And all that's left for me to say is 100% massive thank you, especially to Sara, who gave us an absolutely blinding talk, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And to all of you, every single one of you that have found time this lunchtime to take time out of your day, log on, join a community, and learn about something that matters. So your participation is super, super valuable. And there's a few of you still asking how you might rewatch the webinar and how you might rewatch this recording. So you can come back to the exact link that you're on now, and you will find the recording here. We're also going to write up a blog post on our website, and with all the links, including the link to this recording, the slides, and all the other things that were shared in chat. And that will go up on our website. That's going to be Ellen's evening task. So wish her luck, because there was a lot of chat today. And then we will email that out to everyone that RSVP'd through Meetup. So you should be able to, through lots and lots of routes, find your way back to this link to rewatch this chat, this talk today. So as I said, thank you so much for joining us, for being a part of our community, for your engagement, for introducing yourselves, for your questions. It makes for a really interesting session. So go well. Have a great Christmas when you get there, a Merry December, and we'll see you all again soon. And thanks everyone for joining us. Bye for now.